For private schools competing in Oklahoma for gold balls and championships, Friday in an Oklahoma County courtroom, a legal touchdown was scored. After nearly 3 years of litigation, Oklahoma County Judge Richard Ogden struck down what is known as Rule 14 in the OSSAA organizational rules. 5 private schools in Oklahoma County sued the OSSAA back in December 2023, saying Rule 14 was unconstitutional and should be void. When it comes to a school's classification from 6A all the way down to C in some sports, public schools get to use what is called average daily membership, or the average number of students who attend school each day. But under Rule 14 for private schools, based on postseason success, mixed in with the average number of students, a private school would have to be elevated to a higher class the better they do on the field in just a single sport. Rule 14 also requires not just a higher elevation for the winning private school in that single sport, but it would require a completely new higher ranking for all of a private school's teams, even if those other teams were different gender or even saw a losing season. In his opinion, Judge Ogden wrote, quote, Rule 14, as amended, is written and applied to push private schools out of secondary athletics and has no rational basis in state interest and is not equitable. It's a deviation of each student's constitutional right to equal protection under the 14th Amendment. And it is not only an imminent threat, but it is actually not only on the doorstep, but it is in the proverbial house. It has come in. About 5.6% of all schools within the OSSAA are private schools. The rest are public schools. During the creation of Rule 14 in 2011, public schools said they were concerned about fairness and said private schools can control who they enroll, saying the private schools had an unfair advantage. In a statement to Fox 23, the OSSAA says it will have to present a new plan to Judge Ogden on how it will comply with his ruling. But some private schools being reclassified statewide by daily attendance next fall is highly likely. There will be no impact to spring sports. It has been an ugly month for the OSSAA. At the beginning of the month in his State of the State address, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt said it was time to do away with the organization altogether.
But at the end of it all, a student can transfer to a new school, but if they want to excel in athletics, their opportunity may be blocked by an unelected and unaccountable high school sports association, the OSSAA.
Stitt called for the complete elimination of the OSSAA, saying it was hostile to private schools and school choice efforts made by state lawmakers that they are trying to implement both in public and private schools. Legislation has been filed to set up a new commission accountable to lawmakers, and that new commission would govern over what the OSSAA does now. The OSSAA said after Stitt's speech he did not reach out to them, and they would have loved the chance to have talked about him about those reforms and his concerns. One of the big points state lawmakers say when it comes to getting rid of the OSSAA is that the association is in court too much, battling students, schools, and families. They point to a case in Payne County last fall where 5 Glencoe High School basketball players sued to play after the organization said they violated transfer rules. A judge sided with the students and even praised the Glencoe coach in court as a good role model for his athletes. Here is Northwest Oklahoma State Senator Casey Murdoch pushing for a new commission to replace the OSSAA, talking about how students have had to sue in order to play.
I think the OSSAA has forgotten who they are working for, and it's for the kids, the betterment of our kids' athletics and what they're doing. And what it's looked like to me for the last several years, I think all they're concerned about is making money. And they're putting money over our children of Oklahoma.
The OSSAA said the players violated a rule banning students from having any links to a coach for a full year prior to transferring and denied eligibility to play this year as their main argument. But that did not hold up in court when a judge looked over the evidence presented. The 2026 legislative session is still very young, and the OSSAA reform efforts are still alive at the state capitol. Senate Bill 1890 is currently active. That is the bill in the state Senate that would replace the OSSAA with a statewide commission with appointees from the governor and state lawmakers in both chambers. It is assigned to the Senate Education Committee, where it is awaiting a hearing. The Senate Education Committee's next meeting tomorrow does not show it as being on deck right now, but bills have until the end of March to pass off the Senate floor if they are to be heard in the House. Over the years, there have been attempts to chip away at the powers of the OSSAA at the state capitol. In many cases, they did not go anywhere. The only recent bill we can find that passed was House Bill 1732. It passed last year and gives schools the rights over the broadcast of their own sporting events, not the OSSAA. There was an attempt back in 2024 to make the OSSAA accept cash as legal tender for membership fees and even event admissions, but it didn't pass. In addition to those bills, there is a current debate also happening at the Capitol about allowing homeschool students the ability to participate in OSSAA events within the school districts they live. Again, that is pending at the Capitol. Now, on the other side of this, the OSSAA says it is all about fairness and trying to equal the playing field among all of the schools in their system, public and private. They also say the OSSAA is a member-driven organization governed by 482 Oklahoma schools that voluntarily joined the organization. The board is made up of elected school leaders, superintendents, principals, and athletic directors chosen by their peers. We will now wait and see how the OSSAA says it will comply with life now that Rule 14 has been struck down.